Welcome to Death and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two friends who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm MK.
And I'm Courtney.
And this week, I don't even know what to say. I just feel like this week happened.
Yeah. I feel like I just saw you yesterday because this week has gone by so fast.
Exactly. It just happened. I got my hair done.
Fancy.
And I got contacts so I can actually see. And yeah, no, that's it.
But that's good times.
Yeah, sure.
Your hair looks great.
Thanks.
So I love it.
Also,
yeah.
Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
This
will record a little early tonight.
This obviously will be on long after that, but for those of you who care about our lives, we're recording earlier than usual because I texted Courtney and said hi. So the Bills have Monday Night Football, and I'm not gonna miss that.
Yeah, and I totally get it. I didn't care as much. The Saints had a bye week, so I was just
fair.
I just need to win fantasy.
Which is not going to happen if you play the Titans defense.
It's not ever going to happen. I keep losing every week, no matter what I do. My players keep switching up who gets points. One week, Cortland Sutton does 30 points, and the next week it's you get 4 points. And I was like, why? What is this?
Ooh.
So, I don't know. I'm angry about it. It's fine. Yeah, I've had a week. I took a mental health day today because it has been a long week. There were 2 different nights that I got home after 4 a.m., which was fine. It was fun. Sometimes. But that means I am entirely too worn out to be alive right now. So I slept yesterday, and I slept today, and we'll try again tomorrow, I guess. That's been my week.
Oh, man.
And this is a fun fact. I forgot about this. When I was working on Saturday night at the bar, this guy came in, and it turns out he's in a band in Chicago, and his band was featured on Shameless and Bored to Death. I was like, oh, I know what those things are. Look at us. Look at that. So that was exciting. I do not know who he is, but he seemed very nice.
I will have exciting things to talk about next week on the podcast because this Friday I am working a Brett Eldredge concert.
Love Brett Eldredge.
Yeah, so
how fun!
I'm hang out with Brett Eldredge on Friday.
I'm stoked.
I hope I make it to Friday though, because report cards or progress reports come out this week, and then parent-teacher conferences are in 2 weeks. So I'm
you got this.
Just trying to survive.
That's me. That's going to be me until December 15th, from now until then. So.
When is the last day of school? June 30th or something?
Yeah. You get Christmas break.
I'm fine. It's going to be great.
Yeah. Right. We're going to make it somehow.
So this week, we watched the 1994 cult classic film. I don't know if it's a cult classic. I think it is. Stargate.
It is. I talked to some people.
So, Courtney and I have literally not spoken about the movie at all yet. So, I would first love to hear your immediate reaction.
Well, I'm sorry. My dog is acting a fool again. Come on. I can talk while I move her. My immediate reaction is that I'm going to get hate because my first thought was, this looks like a knockoff version of Tatooine. And whenever they got to the new Egyptian world.
Not the worst thing I've ever heard.
And but I liked it, but it took me a second. Jesus Christ. Yeah. But it took me a second to get into it. I'm so sorry. My dog has just decided to be all in my space suddenly. Thank you.
I think that is a very fair thing to say. I was telling my dad Rewatching it as an adult, like, and actually rewatching it with like a critical lens, I think if I didn't have the knowledge and the buildup of the Stargate world and everything that I know past it, my review would be that it is a middling action movie with a hint of sci-fi. Like, it's not, I enjoyed it. I will never say it was a great film.
Right. Like, I thought it was fine. I did wish, like, watching it, I was like, I bet if I watched the series and, like, saw other things about Stargate, I would probably like it better. But, like, I went in, I had no idea. I was like, is Stargate, like, I Googled, I was like, is Stargate a time machine? It's like, what is happening? So, but I did love seeing, like, the actors from 94 in it. That was fun.
Well, interestingly enough, this is one of my trivia pieces before we get too into it. I did not write down all of the trivia on IMDb because there are 55 separate trivia items on IMDb. I just put the ones in my brain that I thought were good. Speaking of not understanding what the Stargate is or does, the translations of the movie didn't do very well because the actual language translation was problematic. In Mexico, the name of the movie translated to The Gate of Time. So the Mexican audience went in thinking it was only a time travel movie and then had absolutely no idea what was happening.
I mean, I didn't even know where to start. So they were doing better than me.
Well, so Stargate was released on October 28th, 1994. It has a 7.1 rating on IMDb, 42 Metacritic score, and a 53% on Rotten Tomatoes. So it's basically like just super average. No one really feels any one way about it.
That's fair. That's how I feel.
Roger Ebert, we talked about him last week.
Yes.
He fucking hated it. His review says the movie Ed Wood about the worst director of all time was made to prepare us for Stargate.
Well, that's a strong statement. I agreed with him last week because he said it felt like a Shyamalan film from hide and seek. And I was like, me and this guy, we are.
I don't think
he meant
that as a compliment, though.
I don't care. Most people don't when they say that, unless you're me. So.
Jay Carr of the Boston Globe gave it my favorite review. It says, it works, not because ridiculousness is concealed, but because ridiculousness on this scale becomes something else. Don't let anyone tell you that Stargate, lifeless script and all, isn't clunky fun, proudly trembling on the brink of classic camp.
Yep, accurate.
Yeah. It was written by Dean Devlin and Roland Emmerich. Prior to Stargate, Devlin had only written one movie that was pretty poorly received. It was a movie called Universal Soldier, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren. He followed Stargate with Independence Day, Godzilla, and The Triangle. Most of his IMDb credits are actually just that he gets credited for creating the concept of Stargate. So in every single version of Stargate that has existed since then, he is credited as a writer, but he didn't write the scripts. Emmerich wrote a few unknown alien films before working on Stargate. He continued his collaboration with Devlin on Independence Day and Godzilla, and he followed that with writing The Day After Tomorrow, 10,000 BC, and 2012. He's actually better known for directing all of these films rather than writing them. Okay. He actually is also the director. So Roland Emmerich is also the director. He directed Universal Soldier, the terrible Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, and that's how he met Devlin, and then they decided together to work on this Stargate movie. But he's also directed The Patriot, Anonymous, White House Down, Stonewall, Midway. Like, he's not the most popular director in the world, but he's not a bad director.
He's got good credits under him.
Yeah. And truthfully, this movie kind of happened because he was so passionate about it. Most of the actors didn't really want to do the movie.
I mean,
So our top billed cast would be Kurt Russell, James Spader, Jay Davidson, and Vivica Lindfors. So Kurt Russell obviously played Captain O'Neill, the lead character there. And obviously, my note literally says Kurt Russell is obviously Kurt Russell.
when I think of Kurt Russell, I immediately just think of Goldie Hawn, and I'm like, Kurt Russell's fine. I understand he's popular. Everyone knows him, but like Goldie Hawn's better. That's just how I always think of when I think of Kurt Russell.
I am obsessed with Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
Like I just adore him as a human. But also like he's the dad in Sky High.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that movie in like 1,000 years. When did it come?
And like he was in The Thing. He was in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which
I did, yeah. I don't remember what part he played though.
His Ego, the living planet.
Oh yeah, okay.
But actually, I just wrote, if you don't know who Kurt Russell is, I don't think we can be friends. You don't have to like him, but if you don't know who he is,
right,
you don't have the same interest in life.
I feel very much about Kurt Russell as I did about Stargate. He's fine. Other people like him, and that's okay. I don't dislike him.
Actually, there's a trifecta of villains, of MCU villains in this movie, because Kurt Russell is obviously Ego, the living planet. James Spader is Ultron in Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Yes. I saw he was in that movie. I was like, which part was he? I forgot.
Yes, and then his name is Jimin. I can't think of how to pronounce his last name. He is one of the actors in this film as well, and he played Korath, the Kree who was part of Captain Marvel's team, or with like Jan Rog and them, and then but he's also in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1.
Was he a lesser character in this show?
Yes.
Okay, because I don't even see him listed in the like main credits.
No.
Okay.
He,
oh, okay, yeah, I do.
Jimin Hansu.
Hansu?
Yeah, he.
Okay.
I can't remember which character he was. His character.
He was Horus.
Horus. Oh yeah. He was one of the servants of Ra, who had the big face mask headdress on.
Yes.
But so James Spader, obviously, he's probably best known for his work in TV. He does a lot more TV than movies. He's won 3 Emmys. Interestingly, he has won 3 Emmys, all for the same character, but not all for the same TV show.
Okay. His Blacklist character?
No, actually. The Blacklist has never been nominated for an Emmy.
Really? I've never seen it, but people like it.
Yeah, he back in the 90s was in a TV show called Boston Legal with
yeah.
And his character Alan Shore was also in the show The Practice. Boston Legal was like his spinoff from The Practice.
Right. He was also in Pretty in Pink.
Yes.
That was probably my first introduction to him.
Oh, see, I watched Boston Legal.
Yes, I did not.
But also he is Robert California.
Yes, also that.
So there's that.
Yes.
Weirdly, Kurt Russell has never been nominated for any like big awards except for 1 Emmy for playing Elvis in a TV movie that was directed by John Carpenter. Yes.
All right. None of those things go together.
Nope.
That's fine.
The Blacklist has never been nominated for an Emmy, but it has won him a Golden Globe.
Okay.
Got him nominated for a Golden Globe. Then there is Jay Davidson, who played Ra. He looks
like he could be Jeff Goldblum's dad.
He only has 4 acting credits in his entire life. He was actually a model and a fashion designer, not an actor. And he was put in this movie called The Crying Game that ended up winning him an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. And after that, everybody wanted him in their movies. So when he got hired for this movie, when he got the offer, he counter-offered and said they had to pay him $1 million. And then they accepted that offer, and he said, well, shit.
Now I have to do this.
So he was in the movie. He did not learn any of his lines. Everything he said was off of a cue card. He was in 2 more movies after that and then quit acting forever.
I mean, if you get $1 million to not really do your job,
right,
that's fine. I probably would do that too.
And then Vivica Lynn-Forrest played Catherine Langford, the old lady. She was one of those people who was brought into Hollywood to sign on for like a movie company thing. She was owned by Warner Brothers. She was brought in 1946 to try to be the Warner Brothers answer to like Greta Garbo and Linda Bergman.
Yeah.
She's from Sweden originally. Her first film ever was starring opposite Ronald Reagan. She had about 150 movie credits, never really got as big as people wanted her to. And then after Stargate, she went back to Sweden to do stage work.
Well, she also died roughly a year after this movie came out.
Yeah. So. The movie came out in 94. She moved back to Sweden in 95 and then was to do plays.
She
and
died
then
in 95.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. She did a lot of horror stuff back in the day. She was in Creepshow. She was in Exorcist 3. But again, she was she was one of those girls who, like, if you watched a movie from the 40s or 50s, you've seen her. It's just she never had the name recognition that the other Hollywood starlets did.
I've heard her name, but I couldn't tell you her name if you asked me, like, off the cuff. But if you say, I'm like, okay, I've heard of her.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know her feelings about this movie. Like I said, Jay Davidson needed $1 million to do the movie. James Spader said that the script was absolutely awful. He did not want to be in the movie. But then he had a conversation with Roland Emmerich, and Roland Emmerich was so like manically passionate about the movie that he was like, well, it's going to turn into something. And then he absolutely refused to have anything to do with the TV show.
Well, that's fine.
Kurt Russell also hated the script, but Kurt Russell's philosophy on acting is pretty much, am I going to have fun? Then fuck it, let's do it. So
yeah.
He did.
I like it. I like it.
So the movie starts off.
Wait, before there's one other actor I'd like to speak about. Okay. Stephen French. He has a very minor role in this show, but he is from Third Rock from the Sun. He goes on
French
to play
Stewart. French Stewart.
Oh gosh.
Yes.
Stephen French is a writer. My bad.
This is French Stewart's first ever film role. Is this movie.
And it was so interesting to watch him in this role because I knew it was his first, and he goes on like 2 years later, and so I'm so used to seeing him with the squinty eyes and everything before, because he like that was what he did in his audition for Third Rock from the Sun, and then it got stuck that way. He said it's like your mom warned you your face is going to get stuck that way, and that's what happened.
Yeah,
and so it was very interesting to see him in this very different role, even though it was minor. I mean, he's been there a lot. So
I will also say there are 12 characters from the movie that do appear in the TV show. Only one of them stays the same actor, and that would be Skara, the boy who was helping like lead the Egyptian people. Yeah.
Gotcha. Fine.
So the movie starts off in 1928 in Egypt at an archaeological dig, and they discover this weird giant rock cover thing, and then the thing that had been underneath it was a strange alien looking metal circle, and you really don't know anything about it yet at this point. This is probably where Courtney was like, what the fuck did you make me watch?
Yes, I was watching probably the first like 20 minutes. I was like, what is this? What am I watching?
Then we go to a scene where Dr. Jackson is giving a lecture, and I'm also like 98% sure that Disney used this exact scene for the opening scene of Atlantis when Milo Thatch is talking about Atlantis and nobody's listening to him, because that's exactly how this went down. where Dr. Jackson is talking about how the pyramids are not built by Egyptians, and he has proof of why they couldn't possibly have been built by the Egyptians, but he has no idea who built them or how.
Yes.
So everyone's like, okay, crackhead.
Whatever you say.
But again, it is now present day, so the little girl from the archaeology dig is now an old lady, and she recruits Jackson to translate something for her.
This was the one thing I like picked up on at the beginning when I saw I was like, the eye Ra. I saw it and I put, is that the Egyptian eye symbol? And then like 5 minutes later when she's talking to him and she has the necklace, I was like, nailed it. I knew exactly what I was talking about.
You were correct. That was the Eye of Ra. Yes. Then we go to flash to another scene because this is from back in the day of action movies where they just introduced characters super haphazardly with no connection. And then we're like, they're connected. We'll get there.
Yeah.
And so we go to this military man, Captain Jack O'Neill, no, Colonel Jack O'Neill, who is kind of a hot mess because his son died and he's not handling it very well. Which, fun fact, that character trait does still exist in the TV show. They didn't completely. Actually, I will say, for the most part, like obviously it's different actors. They could expand on things in the TV show, and like if you get to like the end of season 6, they're very different characters. But this movie could have immediately opened with the TV show, and you wouldn't really know a difference except for that the actors are different because it's genuinely very like this. The TV show is actually a follow-up of the movie, not like a rebrand.
Right. That's nice.
Yeah. But so Jack is a hot mess because his wife, his wife clearly does not like him very much in this moment. His son is dead.
I will say they were sitting there and they're like, when they showed up and they're like, you're going to be reactivated. I just looked, I was like, he is completely void of any emotion. You cannot activate this human.
Well,
there's nowhere.
Later we find out why he was chosen while being void of any emotion, because they needed someone who didn't care if they were going to die.
Yes. But at this point, I was like, and I also questioned because I've seen Kurt Russell in so little, I just know him like as a human. Yeah. I was like, he's not a terrible actor from what I understand. Why does he seem like he has no acting skills at the second?
He was playing emotionally dead.
Right. And that made way more sense later. But at first I was like, this is rough. This is only 94. It's not like this is
right. Like it's not like this is the first thing Kurt Russell's ever done.
Right. No.
Then we go to the military base. Where all of this science stuff is happening. And Catherine brings Daniel Jackson in and is like, this is what we need you to translate. And he's like, man, whoever translated this, you fucked up. This is all wrong. But the thing about Daniel and his character is that he may or may not be autistic. Because he doesn't say any of these things to hurt people. He just also doesn't register that he's hurting people. He's just like, these are facts and I'm saying them.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't, and there are other things where he's just like emotionless and socially inept, like in a way that is like spectrum-y, but also maybe just like, you've spent too much time alone in your room and forgot how to talk to other people?
See, I wasn't sure if it was like him, again, messing up acting, or it took me a minute to figure out if these characters, I'm like, are you acting or are you terribly trying to act? Like what?
Well, and that's the thing is going into it, knowing that James Spader and Kurt Russell are who they are.
Yeah.
It's almost like, well, these have to be their character traits. Like if they had been people that we'd never seen before, like nobodies, it would be like, wow, these are really bad characters.
Well, at the point that this came out, the only thing I mean, I didn't see Pretty in Pink in 1994, but I had seen it before this. That was the only thing I knew that I had seen him in before 94. And so I was like, I mean, obviously he played a very different character in Pretty in Pink. And I was like, and he did fine there. I was like, so then I was like, did he just take a long time to progress up into the time he joined the Blacklist and Boston Legal and all that? But it was just the
I find him
movie.
But
well, it worked out after I got past the beginning. But I think that may have been a lot of directing and writing.
Potentially.
Error.
Yeah. So then Jack comes in and he is basically like, this project is mine. And he's being a dick. And then we get some stuff where it is apparently 2 weeks progress. And in these 2 weeks, Daniel is trying very hard to solve this hieroglyph, but it turns out they're not hieroglyphs. They are star symbols. Which, like, how do you not know that?
I mean, I didn't know. But I also am not literate in reading hieroglyphs or star symbols. But as a linguist, he should have been.
Right. I mean, he is a linguist, but technically he's not. He's an Egyptologist, which they don't really go into that much.
Those are different things.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So, again, plot holes.
Yeah.
Because, he's an Egyptologist. So he discovers the cover stone and they show him the Stargate. I think that they never called it a Stargate until he solved the hieroglyph that called it a Stargate, and now they do. So credit to Dr. Jackson on that one. They activate it using the things that he discovered, and it opens a portal. And now I will say, not all of the effects in this movie were great. But the initial portal and the pulse is beautiful. And it is exactly what they use for the Stargate for all 5 spin-off series. Like, that is what the Stargate pulse portal looks like. Always.
It feels like it came directly from Doctor Who. And they pull him through.
I don't hate it.
I mean, I was like, this is good, but
yeah, I mean, Doctor Who and Stargate are my 2 favorite sci-fi universes. So, they send this probe in. They find out that there is symbols on the other side of the Stargate as well, but they aren't the same.
When they sent the probe in, I just put, what is this? Battle of the Bots or something? I was like, what is happening?
It was a really,
because it was
a super 90s probe. It was a super 90s probe.
That's what I watched as a child at 3 a.m. was the Battle of the Bots show. That's exactly what this reminded me of.
Perfect. But they're going to need somebody on the recon mission who will be able to get them back out of the portal. And Daniel just volunteers.
Can totes do that? That's basically what he said. Can totes do that?
He's a big dummy who's just like, oh yeah, I can do that. I don't mind going with you through this weird portal into who fucking knows where or what dimension. Sounds great.
He's a liar.
Okay. He didn't lie. He just omitted some major details, which my 5th graders told me today, not the same as lying.
It's debatable. It's debatable.
Because he could. He just needed some stuff first.
That he didn't know if that was going to be there or not.
I mean, he knew it had to be somewhere.
Right. Yes.
So they go through the portal and arrive on this other planet. The planet is called Abydos. They don't say that in the movie, but
They do not say that. That's why I just kept calling it knockoff Tatooine the whole time I was watching it.
Planet is called Abydos. Also, the movie says that it's in the Callium Galaxy, and it's also not. It's in the Milky Way because, fun fact about the Stargate, they used 7 chevrons to travel through. There was the 6 things, the square that he drew about how to travel through it, and the 6 chevrons, and then the starting point is correct. But if you are traveling to another galaxy, you need an 8th chevron as the portal to the next galaxy.
I will keep that in mind.
That was all retconned. So this whole Callium thing for Abydos was retconned in the TV show.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But so they go to Abydos, and the planet looks like ancient Egypt. There's a giant pyramid and 3 moons. And they're like, holy shit, we did it.
So this is the moment that I said, is Stargate just a time travel portal? And so I Googled that. And then it also looked up, is time travel possible in my recommendations? And I was like, click on that. And NASA told me we are all technically time traveling just at the same time while we go through space. And I was like, NASA, you're kind of being a jerk right now. I was like, that is clearly not what I meant. It was the first answer after it recommended that I look this up when I asked if Stargate was a time travel portal. So I was like,
I will say that they did explain before they went into the Stargate that they were going to a different planet in a different galaxy. But I can understand why, if you missed that one line, this would be very confusing.
I was having a confusing time before we got to Egypt.
Fair. So then Daniel is trying to explain the fact that he can't actually just activate the Stargate without finding the cover stone with the portal description. And the army guys, in a typical army bros who don't understand science fashion, freak the fuck out. And are super rude.
I mean, to be fair, they show up and he's like, and they're like, okay, we made it. We're going to go back. We'll come back and get these symbols. And he's like, oh, by the way, we've just spent all of this time here first. I have to find a way out and then we can go. And I was just like, I would also be pissed if you told me that you didn't know where you were looking for this thing.
But then they're also just like super childish and like throw his suitcase at him and like.
Okay, they were also very rude, but I would have been angry like them. I would not have reacted like them. Right. To be clear.
We also, in this moment, find out that Jack has a secret mission that we don't understand yet. That clearly involves a bomb.
Mm-hmm.
So Daniel doesn't know what to do, but he sees footsteps, so he follows them, which is obviously the answer.
Mm-hmm.
And he follows them to this giant alien cow horse.
In my notes, very largely, I just put, what on earth is this? I was very taken aback.
On Earth, in real life, it is a horse with a costume on.
Yes. Yes, that is accurate. And then I immediately yelled at him because I said, I don't know what this is, but you do not feed animals chocolate that kills them. What's wrong with you?
And clearly the alien horse liked the chocolate.
Well, it was also very large, so I guess a little chocolate won't kill it, but
still probably not the correct thing to do.
Right.
So then we have exciting desert chase scene for no reason. That went on a little too long.
Yep.
Like, I appreciated the humor of it. Too long.
But this wasn't a humorous movie, per se.
I think it thinks it was.
I see. Okay, I'm with you now.
Like, for example,
this is the opposite problem we talked about last week, where they were not trying to be funny and they were, and this time they were trying to be funny and they weren't. Gotcha.
Yeah, because like there's a
Okay,
couple lines that are just really funny and like a couple characters that are really only in there to be funny.
Right.
Yeah. And like a horse dragging someone across the desert for an abnormally long amount of time clearly is meant to be humorous.
Yes.
Why else would you do that?
I don't have any answers for you.
So they get to this civilization where why am I blanking on his name? I know his name.
Which one?
The leader of the Egyptian
Ra?
civilization. No.
Anubis? He's the
No. Not any of the gods. The actual like leader of the village.
Jeff Goldblum's dad?
Yes. Kasuf, that's his name. Eric Avini's character, Kasuf. He's also in the TV show.
Gotcha.
So Kasuf and all of his people think that Daniel is a god because he is wearing the eye of Ra.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a big feast.
This is also a moment before they get to the feast where I was like, Daniel, like clearly doesn't have himself together, because they were like, okay, you're a linguist. You got us here. You go talk to them. They clearly want to talk to you. And he's like, why would you send me? And I'm like, who else would they send? You're the one who's supposed to know these things.
Agreed.
Of course you're the one.
He is the one who's supposed to know languages. He also has the people skills of an ant.
Well, yes, but
and he
so do the others.
He clearly had not figured out that language yet.
Mm-hmm.
Which again goes back to the fact that he's not a linguist.
Right. Yes. But like, why would the rest of them know anything? He's definitely like the one who's going to know them.
He's definitely more qualified than them. Also, still not qualified.
Right. But I was like, why are you so angry about this? Clearly, you're the best choice, even though you're not a good choice.
Right. So they have some kind of bonding with chocolate and water, and then they have a feast with chicken. Again, why I think this movie thinks it was funny. And they give him a woman as an offering because they think he is a god. And he is like, please no.
It's like, no.
And then she's like, oh gosh, I have shamed you. Everything is awful. And he's like, well, no shit. Like I don't want you to get in trouble either. Like, it's awkward. Like, ugh.
He opens the gate and he's just like sending her back. And then they're just like, he's like, never mind.
Stay here. Her name is Shuari. And then
you nailed that, by the way.
Thanks. She is his wife for real in the rest of the show also. They really did get married. So they get married. That apparently that offering ceremony was actually a wedding. Weird.
Yes.
But she turns out to be the, I don't know, most intelligent person in this tribe, and has secretly been learning to read and write. Because fun fact, that's illegal here.
Good times.
And she helps him find the hieroglyphs. She takes him into this cave and they see all these pictures, and he discovers that their language is a dialect that he does know. He's just never heard it out loud before. And it's all beautiful. And while this is going on, Jack is getting all pissy and being followed around by the boys who want to be like him because he's big and strong.
Right.
The main boy, the leader of the boys, his name is Skara. I love him. He's so funny. He's the one who's actually really funny in the show. But they're trying to figure out where Daniel is, and the language barrier turns into a weird game of charades / Simon Says. And then they figure it out because of the chicken.
I won't lie, I kind of just like flowed through this part of the movie.
Yeah, it's not the best part of the movie. So Jack and Skara find Shuari and Daniel, and they are in the thing, and they are understanding what's happening, and they learn the whole secret of Ra and the aliens and the inhabiting. And even this is not very well explained, and it is explained much, much better in the TV show. The species of alien that Ra actually is called the Goa'uld, which they don't say that in the movie either.
So this is not typical Egyptian, like ancient
no,
Egypt.
No. Okay.
I was really struggling.
No.
Let's pause.
No. Time out. Pause. No, so in the Stargate universe, there are 5 ancient civilizations that basically created the universe. And right. The Goa'uld is one of them. And they are a parasitic alien that requires a human host to survive. This alien then inhabited this young boy and created the persona of Ra, and the Egyptian god myths are actually evolved from this alien race taking over the people of ancient Egypt and forcing humans into slave labor.
That is not a thing I understood watching this movie.
They do kind of explain it, but rushed. Like the scene where Daniel is explaining the whole alien mythos to Jack, they don't actually talk about the other 4 nations of races and what the name Goa'uld is, because that's all from the TV show. But he does explain the idea of the alien parasite and the forced slave labor of ancient Egypt, but he does it in a way
I did hear that.
Yeah. So, but he does it in a way that is so incredibly rushed and glossed over that you don't understand that that's what's happening unless you already knew that that's what was happening.
I did not realize these were the aliens. I thought these were the enslaved Egypt people.
Well, they are, except for the boy king, who is
Ra.
Yes, but he has been inhabited by an alien inside of him.
And knew something was weird about him.
Yes. Yeah.
Well.
The other people are just enslaved people who are forced to work for him.
Well, all of my ancient Egypt questions and thoughts are no longer relevant. So, because I was really confused why Anubis had a person under the helmet, because I thought he was just a jackal head in the ancient Egypt.
Also, Anubis and Horus's relationship to Ra gets retconned in the series as well. They just went real hard on the Egyptology in the movie.
I am with you. I am back in the game. All right.
Okay.
I'm here.
So they do find the way to get out of the portal. They find the thing, but the 7th symbol is missing. It has been broken. So they can't actually use the Stargate. But while all this is going on, the energy of the Stargate being used has awoken Ra. Yay.
Good times.
So his servants, who are Anubis and Horus, kind of, bring Daniel and Jack to him. Some spaceships fly out of the pyramid and start killing people.
I want to say, when they bring Daniel and Jack and they use their like staffs to knock him to the ground, but like no contact is made at all, I just put, what in the coal shack are those graphics that just happened? There was no contact and they just fell. It made me think of the night scene.
I do really like the staffs when they shoot the electricity.
Yes, that part was much better. But when they just hit them and didn't touch them and they fell over, like, I was like, nothing happened there.
Yeah. I don't really love the spaceships flying out of the pyramid. I get that it's like aliens, but like, yeah.
It was a little much.
So then, in true typical stereotypical villain fashion, Ra tells Daniel his entire plan.
Right.
Somehow they break Daniel out and they're on the run from these aliens. And Daniel is all gung-ho on the kids from the Egyptian race helping. And Jack is like, no. And then we find out all the details about the bomb plot and all of that. And we kind of realize that Jack is not really as anti-feeling as he has seemed so far. And he clearly doesn't want the kids involved because he's having PTSD about his dead child.
Right. Yes. Let's throw some emotions into our maybe humorous sci-fi not explained movie.
Yes. So then Skara helps Daniel figure out what the seventh symbol is because he starts drawing something and then Daniel's like, oh my God, I get it now. Haha, put the pieces together. So they are all ready. And then I've literally stopped taking notes at this point because then we just got your typical sci-fi action movie, very long battle sequence that involves a lot of things. But in the end of the day, it's just a very long battle sequence.
Yes.
We find out that Daniel and Shuari are married.
But did Spader accidentally get married and not know about it?
Yes, he did.
Yes, that seems to be the case.
So then he gets forced to be like a servant, and Ra is like, you're gonna go kill Jack. And then all the little Egypt boys, oh no, that's when they broke out, but
yeah,
the first time. Then they're like,
this is when he's trying to do stuff and they're like, husbands don't do that.
Oh yeah, no, that's all in the camp scene and everything. But then we go back to the actual escape.
Oh yeah. Right.
And I did not really write a lot down here, but the guys injure Shuari and Daniel, who has apparently actually fallen in love with this girl in about 32 seconds. Then decides to risk the whole mission by making sure that she can go up to the regeneration chamber.
Yeah, I was like, did you forget the number one rule? You never leave your fellow man behind. And he's just like, see ya, Jack. Well, I understand Jack wanted to blow stuff up, but at the same time,
blow everything up. Also, Daniel is not a soldier.
Yeah, but
he doesn't have that rule.
I'm not a soldier. I would not want to leave my friends behind.
Chick was hotter than he was ever going to get on Earth.
That's okay, especially with his wonderful
his social skills
he has going on in the 90s too.
Yeah, and that social skills lacking. Yeah. We do have the actual saddest moment of the entire episode, or episode movie. The saddest moment of the entire movie was when the little handicapped kid got blown up.
I didn't know his name, and so I just put poor Big Teeth got blown up.
Yeah,
it was so sad.
That was it. I was done. That was the saddest moment of the whole movie. Like, sadder than finding out Jack's kid shot himself.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. That's because they didn't talk about that very long. It was like, this happened. Okay, thanks, bye.
Yeah.
But this one, they actually drew it out of it, and you were there, and you're like, he's gonna die, but I can't do anything about it.
Yeah. But basically, in the end, they end up figuring out that they can use the teleporting device to blow Ra and his spaceship up. We see the absolute worst special effects graphics I've ever seen of Ra being blown up. And then they all go back to Earth. Let's see. Except for not really. They don't all go back to Earth. Jack and the soldiers go back to Earth. Daniel stays with his wife and new friends.
Right. Good times.
Good times. The TV show.
But he seems happy. The last thing is his face being happy. So
yes. The TV show starts 3 years later.
I will say my final thoughts on this movie. as I said, I didn't hate it. I didn't understand a lot of what was happening. It seems.
Yeah.
But now that you've explained a lot of it, I would actually enjoy the TV show. It seems like something that would be up my alley. But
Like I
this is an
said,
interesting introduction to it.
yeah, like I said, I am much more TV person than movie person anyway, and I have always loved the TV show. In fact, we own all of SG1 on DVD and most of Atlantis.
Nice.
There's Stargate Infinity, Stargate SG1, Stargate Atlantis, Stargate Universe. Those are the 4 TV spinoffs. And then there's also 2 other movies, Stargate Arc of Truth and Stargate Continuum.
Didn't one come out like within the last 5 or 10 years or something?
Yeah, Universe.
Continuum? Oh.
No, Continuum. Yeah, the movie Continuum came out more recently.
No.
Universe is the newest of the Stargate series. I have not actually watched that one. Who is the main captain on that one? Oh, Robert Carlyle, like Rumpelstiltskin from Once Upon a Time.
Yeah, I knew he was in that.
He's the main character in Universe. Jason
Gotcha.
Momoa is in Atlantis.
Okay.
What I watched in 2006.
Yes,
Then,
you have told me this.
Yes, and then Richard Dean Anderson, like the original MacGyver, is Captain Jack O'Neill or Colonel Jack O'Neill in the TV show.
This is all very up your character's alleys. You love all of these people.
I do. So obviously,
yes,
I love it. Some fun trivia. I told you all my trivia about the actors and all that nonsense. Actually, I don't really have that much more trivia because I just talked about the show the whole time. I'm trying to think. There was some trivia that was. I mean, there's trivia like
Egypt trivia.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of Egypt trivia. Oh, but I mean,
not related apparently.
So, I mean, honestly, before rewatching the movie yesterday, my dad and I went on a 2-hour deep dive about the Stargate universe and like what is happening in it and all of the different mythologies that exist in the Stargate universe. Because, like, the Asgardians are in it. Like obviously, so Norse mythology is in it. There is obviously Greek, Egyptian mythology in it. They stayed away from a lot of Greek and Roman mythology because it's more done. But so there are, I think, in total about 17 different gods that exist in the show, from like Hindu mythology, Norse mythology, Egyptian mythology, all of that. Like I said, there are 5 immortal being races that exist. The Goa'uld is based on a lot of the Egyptian mythology. The ancient ones are the ones I know the most about because they feature most heavily in Atlantis.
Okay.
They are like ascended humans. There is all kinds of stuff. I gave all my trivia about things that were retconned. The Stargate doesn't travel in time.
I understood zero about this movie.
The Stargate only travels in space, not in time. It is genuinely just a portal.
Not a TARDIS, just an open hole you fall through to another spot. Got
exactly. It. And it has to be activated from both sides for it to actually work.
So, question.
Yeah.
How is it activated in Egypt? Was that the probe when it active? Well, no, because it would have had to be activated before that.
By activated, it has to be able to receive a signal. So they will do things later in the show where they're trying to get somewhere, but the gate has been disabled. So it isn't able to receive a signal. This gate, the light just got really bright.
So it's like their telephone pole fell down.
Yeah.
If they're disabled. Okay.
Yeah. It's weird. It's complicated. The show does a much better job of explaining the science-y parts of the science fiction. There is Some weird. Oh, this one you will find really interesting because you do copyright stuff. There was a high school teacher who in 1995 filed a copyright lawsuit saying that he had written this entire film and like the script, and he even had like his former Egyptology professor from Johns Hopkins like prove that he did it. He sued the directors and the writers and 20th Century Fox, and the 20th century he had because he had given the script to 20th Century Fox. They rejected it in 1984 before Devlin and Emmerich had ever even met each other and started writing this movie. So it was clearly not the same script. They settled out of court for $50,000, even though he had originally sued them for $140 million. He only got 50 grand. And then in 2013, he published a novel called Egyptscape, supposedly based on the script that he had originally sent in.
Did it seem like it was close?
I've never read the book, but
new film.
They're both about Egypt.
Well, yes, yes. There are a lot of things. I just read a book about Egypt that was a forensic handwriting book. Very different than this, though.
Oh, also wanted to say that David Arnold is the name of the composer for this movie. He had never composed for a film before this, and the director and writer were nervous about bringing him on. But then as soon as he started playing music for them, they were like, absolutely yes. And then he actually stayed on with them and did Independence Day and Godzilla as well. Oh. And his music is changed a little bit in the TV show, but like the main Stargate theme is the same.
Nice. Love a good underdog.
Yes. Ra's former host race was never identified throughout the movie, but they tell you in the thing.
That's the Goa'uld.
The Goa'uld, yes. Yeah, I think a Clydesdale horse. That is the species of horse that was under the costume.
Which makes sense.
Yes.
Since it's like the largest horse.
Yeah. Not a lot of trivia. The 12 characters that appear in the TV show after this are Colonel O'Neill, Dr. Jackson, Kowalski and Ferretti, the two soldiers, Kasuf, Skara and Chowdhury, Ra Anubis, Catherine Langford, Professor Langford, and then Sarah O'Neill, Jack's wife.
Yeah.
Kasuf and Skara are the only ones played by the same actor after the movie.
Gotcha.
In most of the scenes where there are a lot of people, the extras are either mannequins or scarecrows.
Ooh, that's a fun fact.
They did not.
Did you notice it?
I did not notice it. I knew that before watching it, and I still didn't notice it. Yeah. Okay. So they did a good job of disguising the scarecrows, but also it was a knockoff Tatooine. So like,
yes,
yeah,
that's all I could think the entire time.
So I am not going to be that crazy person who pretends that this movie was better than it was. Like, I love it, and I love the Stargate universe, but I'm also not going to sit here and pretend that this is the best movie I've ever watched.
Yeah, that's okay, though. You can care about a movie and still know it's not the best.
Right. And the thing is, truthfully, it's just that I love Stargate, like, as an entity and a franchise. And if it weren't for this
part of it.
Yeah, and if it weren't for this movie, it never would have happened.
Right.
So like I owe my discovery of Jason Momoa's bare chest to this movie.
That is a good reason to care about this movie.
Yes.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was our Sci-Fi Awakening movie.
Good times.
I mean, truthfully, my interest in sci-fi really started well before that because Doctor Who, but this is the first sci-fi movie that I ever really remember watching.
Yeah.
So there it is.
So now you know our favorites, or at least what got us started.
Yeah. So yeah, we next weekend is
It's Halloween.
the big one. It is Halloween. We have an episode that actually comes out on Halloween Day. So while you are hungover and laying in bed dying because your Halloween party was Saturday night, you can hang out with us.
We'll be there for you.
And we will be watching a movie that actually kind of is the reason why we decided to not start our next TV show and just watch movies for this. Because we were trying to figure out what to do because we knew we wanted to do something special for Halloween. And it wouldn't have made sense to start a new TV show for 2 weeks and then quit.
Right.
So, and Courtney had this idea. Courtney, share what your plan for the month of October was.
So my plan that I haven't finished yet, but we're only halfway through the month at this point, so I still have time, was to watch all of the Hitchcock films because I've never seen any of them, and that feels like a sin. So for Halloween,
we tossed a few of the most classic Hitchcock horror films back and forth and tried to decide which one to review because we wanted to make sure that we weren't gonna waste anybody's time with not the best Hitchcock movies. Right. And so while deciding between we were down to about the three. Well, we were down to The Birds, Rear Window, and Psycho, which if I said the three Hitchcock, those are probably the three that you thought of.
That's probably what you thought of. Mm-hmm.
And then while deciding, we were looking at some stuff and we saw the cast lists for these movies. And as you may or may not know, if you are just tuning into this podcast, we just finished reviewing Kolchak, The Night Stalker, and gave our MVP acting award to Mr. Simon Oakland, who happens to be in the Hitchcock film Psycho.
Yay!
So next week for our Halloween episode, we will be watching the one and only original Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho.
And we've got some fun facts for you already.
Oh, already. I don't think either of us have actually watched the movie all the way through. I know you haven't. I've watched most of it, but haven't actually sat down and watched it all the way through. And yet I could still probably tell you the whole IMDb trivia page.
I am so stoked about this. It's going to be such a fun time.
So next week we will be doing Psycho, and we will finally be announcing our next series.
Our new show.
We also
Everyone's going to love.
Yes, and we also have a new format coming up that we'll talk about next week as well.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
So stay tuned for that.
In the meantime, you can follow us.
I have a couple of shout outs before we wrap up.
Yes.
So as of the day we are recording this, it is our bestie, Caitlin Weem's birthday. So happy birthday. We love you dearly.
We love you. And also we have to give you credit for introducing us because if it weren't for you, this podcast would not exist. So happy birthday, Kate. And also when this episode comes out, it is my mother's birthday. So happy birthday, Mom. Here's your sci-fi film review. Nice. I don't think she knows anything about sci-fi, but that's okay. It's okay.
Anyways,
yeah. I don't have any shout outs.
That's okay. We are in the time of birthdays in my life, so
obviously Kate, but
right.
No.
So yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say something else, but I don't know what it was.
I don't know. I'll say stay tuned on Sundays on our Instagram. Also, I'm watching and reviewing TV shows.
Yes. Courtney's doing a great job of watching and reviewing things on Instagram. Also, I just need to apologize to everyone because like I said, this week just happened. It didn't really exist for me. And also, I am kind of deliberately not watching it because I feel like once I watch it, I'm going to have to go back into the anxiety of waiting for it again. So I have not watched season 3 of You yet.
I haven't either. I read the first. I haven't watched season 2 of You. Hold on. So I read the first 2 books.
Yeah.
I watched the first season, but I wanted to read the 3rd book, and it came out around the same time that the 2nd season came out, and I got mad because I couldn't get a hold of the book, and then just didn't do anything.
So I watched the first 2 seasons in like 30 minutes. Just kidding, but like that fast. And then I've been waiting for a year and a half for season 3 to come out. And they announced the day before season 3 came out that season 4 was already greenlit. But in my mind, I'm currently in like this weird anxiety moment because I was waiting for You to come back, and I'm also still waiting for season 5 of The Last Kingdom. And so I'm like, I'm just at peace with my anxiety. But if I watch the season and then still don't have a release date for season 4, I'm going to be back at the peak of the anxiety.
Well, let me tell you, I don't know that the 4th book has been released yet.
I think it might be one of those Game of Thrones things where they no longer care.
Maybe so, but I know they waited for the 3rd book to be released before they released the 3rd season.
Yeah, so not watching. Sorry, Joe Goldberg. Later.
See you next time. Speaking of, I watched a movie this week called Stepfather. Sorry, we just like...
No, but Penn Badgley's in that movie.
He's in that movie, and I fell asleep the last like 20 minutes because it was really late at night. But it was a really good movie, and I'm going to finish it. So I've had a lot of Penn Badgley talk this week.
My update, I just want to say this right now, and I want it to be on the air just in case, and I want it to be recorded now and everyone so that you know it is 10/18/2021, October 18th. It is 7:37 p.m. The duck on The Masked Singer is Willie Robertson. I'm 100% sure. And also, Todrick Hall is on it as well, and nobody is guessing it. And I'm so sure of both of them that when they get unmasked, if I'm correct, I'm putting it out right now that I knew it before the judges.
I believe you. I haven't watched since the first season, but I loved the first season, so maybe I'll go back and watch one day.
I didn't mean to get addicted to The Masked Singer, but it happened.
Look, that's how I was the first season. I just was like, what is this? And I turned on, I was like, I'm watching this all forever now. Yeah. But then I didn't watch out of the first season.
Yeah. No. Yep. So that's
times.
And it's in 12 or 22 minutes, the new season of The Bachelorette starts.
Ugh.
I'm not going to watch it.
I'm going to hang tight.
I'm not going to watch it.
I think I might be done for a minute with The Bachelor for a couple years, and I'll come back. I do that. I go in cycles. I watch like 5 seasons or so, and then I take a couple of season break and then come back.
I'm a psycho completionist, so that's not.
Well, I love Michelle too, but like I've got so much going on right now. I need to watch the season finale of season 4 of Major Crimes. That came out like 5 years ago, but I am too caught up in that right now. I can't start anything new. I'm so tired. I'm so tired.
I feel that. Well,
so good luck to Michelle, though. I hope she found love. Because I do truly think she's a wonderful human.
If you have Masked Singer thoughts or Hitchcock thoughts or Bachelorette thoughts or
truly, if you have any thoughts,
share them with us, please.
We're here. DM us.
You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Death and Aliens. You can follow me everywhere at EMKAY_superstar.
And you can follow me everywhere at CECloud13 everywhere.
And yeah, that is it.
We will see you next week for Hitchcock.
Happy Halloween weekend.
Oh, and I have my Halloween shirt on. So stick ties and spooky vibes. My friend LS Vinyl, another shout out. LS Vinyl on Etsy. She makes some great t-shirts and she's really fast.
Yeah, and this will you will watch this before Halloween. So happy Halloween weekend, and we will see you later.
See you then. Bye.
Bye.